Good morning. This is Black Spring Mobile coming to you on your Wednesday morning. And I just want to give you guys just a few minutes to get in. And I just kind of wanted to do a review of, I guess, maybe the last 3 or 4 days of news, I guess, perhaps. We can just go with the last 3 to 4 days is what I'm trying to bring to you right now. So hope you guys are doing well. I just want to give you a chance to come in. So I know it's early. Good morning where you are, whether you're on the West Coast or whether you're on the East Coast, whether you are, if you're in Europe, wherever you are around the globe. Thank you so much for coming in. So it looks like I have one person already. So I have a couple of points that I'd like to make. And this is based on, I'm going to tell you right away that I've been following the Rittenhouse trial just a little bit. And of course, I've been able to see the reactions and the responses from, of course, people of all walks of life. And, hello, good morning to Nick Smith. Good day to you. Good day. Top of the morning to you. And so I just kind of want to, it's going to be, I think that this Rittenhouse verdict is what I'm going to talk about. And I think it's going to be the impetus for two things. We're aware of the case that's going on. We're aware that we're close to a verdict. I don't know how close. I don't purport to know the day, time, or hour. As they say, some people say, we don't know the day, time, of hour when most things come our way. But I want to talk about the impetus of the case, and I think there's about at least two outcomes. I do believe, since we're 2 minutes in, I do believe that we're on the heels, believe it or not, we're on the heels of the heebie-jeebie, for the lack of a better word. So I believe that I think there's, the climate crisis, that's your next crisis, which it's funny how I'm seeing many of the same symptoms from this particular crisis are actually being associated with the climate change. So I'm not going to get into climate change here so much. It's just going to be, I think that there's an impetus for this case. And I've been saying this for a while. I do believe that, of course, that the 2A is what's actually on trial here. And I stand behind that. I still believe that. I believe that we're in the halls, we're in the corridors of the UN Agenda 2030. I've been talking about the UN Agenda 2030 for about 3 years now. So if you want to follow that up, you can hop into the archives and see, even the New Green Deal, as when it was coined, when it was at the inception or the introduction of the New Green Deal, I talked about the UN agenda. But I want to get to what my 2 points are. I do believe that this particular case, depending on the verdict, I do believe that if Rittenhouse is actually, if he's found not guilty, and I'm not going to go into counts and that kind of bit, you guys can chew on that however you want, but I do believe that this will be the impetus for legislation. I do believe that the 2A self-defense will become a public health crisis. I do believe that they are going to do that. I do believe that the ACLU will rally behind it. I believe all of these NGOs, these groups, we got a pattern here. History says to me that I'm not even going to go too much left, right. I'm going to say that the Destruction Party, all of their riots have ended in wins. All of their riots, to me, end in wins. Their democracy, I'm using that loosely because it's a loose and I think it's a disingenuous term politically. All of their democracy leads to wins for destruction and perversion, more perversion, okay? And I do believe anything that's done from the former, which is anything that's not from the destruction faction, or the progressives or whatnot, has led to some detainment. It's led to losses. It's led to loss of liberty. It's going to lead to more loss. It's leading to loss of there's no defense for human rights. There's no defense for natural rights. And I do believe that this case is an impetus for that. I do believe the ACLU is going to come out behind this thing. I believe there will be more riots, and that will bring you more legislation. I also believe that I even believe that the second piece of what I'm offering right now is, I believe that because of one of the victims in this situation had a record, from what I understand, it had a pedophilia record. I do believe that the ACLU and all these NGOs are going to come out in defense of that. They are going to me, they're going to start making a case for people doing hate crimes against those with those backgrounds. So I believe they're going to, there's a lot of support for that faction, for pedophilia. Believe it or not, covert, whatever you want to call it, veiled pedophilia, whatever you want to call it. We're in a system of veiled everything, veiled coercion, veiled support for people that have been convicted of these things. That's another faction. I do believe that there will be legislation, that there will be more social protections for people of that faction, as well as this will be the impetus for making the gun and self-defense, it will be a public health crisis. I'm not purporting that I'm not saying, I'm not professing I'm some type of prophet. No, I am not. I do believe, I can see, I don't operate completely blind. I see that we have a pattern, what history says. You go back to the George Floyd case, everything that they do leads to an undermining in liberty and loss of freedoms. That's what I'm saying. That's what it's been done. I mean, the media is already painting. They tried to get this guy on race. So now that that's falling apart, I guarantee there will be a hate element. The hate for the pedophilia faction, and the ACLU and the NGOs will come out in support, and they will draw legislations and more social protections for that group of people. And they will be added, very much well could be added, LGBTQ, MOUSC, whatever they want, whatever they're going to call them, but they're going to add that to the mix. Those two things. I'm not going to say they're going to give this guy, one of these victims, a statue. I'm not going to say that. But I do believe that there will be legislation. Who knows? They might even name some legislation after one of these victims in this situation. It's contingent upon the way this thing turns out. But I still think that this is still going to be the impetus. This is what they need. Like I said, I think we're in the corridors of this UN agenda. We've been in the corridors of it for a long time. But for every event, for every reaction that aligns with human rights, which I think are higher than civil rights, has led to loss of liberties. Okay? I don't think this is any different than that. But I do believe your crises are on the way. Your climate crisis is coming up right now, because the heebie-jeebie we're on the heels of that. I think that didn't go like they wanted. In fact, I even saw an interview. If I can get it, I'll pull it and I'll play it for you guys. This is Black Spring Mobile, so I don't have all the capacity right now, the tools to do it with. But I think even Gates has come out and said, well, we just need to figure out a way to do this, to do these mocktails differently. It's just like, he nobody seems to be offended by what this guy says or does. I mean, he's very bold, he's very brazen. Okay, but it's like they've lost the steam on that. But will there be consequences for this? No, it doesn't matter. And then here again, I don't know whether the Uncle algorithm is going to give me a ding on this, but I'm just thinking, well, whatever happened to the American Medical Association? Where have they been on all of this? I mean, you guys have physicians. I mean, have you guys consulted with your own physicians? Why is it that everyone has just kind of yielded or just knelt down and bowed to Air Fauci. Why? And I sat there and I watched what Rand Paul, do a fantastic monologue. I'm so sick of this fool's gold. That's the other thing. I am so unbelievably sick of that. Yeah, I'm sick of it because everybody wants to keep hitching their wagon to people selling hope. Okay, well, nothing that they really put out on the floor is new. Most people that are following things, that are keeping up with things, have done their own, that are literate enough to realize that self-education is important this day and time, still important. We already know. that something in the milk isn't clean. That's an old saying. That's not the way it's said. That's not the way that it's said. But we already know that something in the milk is not quite clean. We already know that. But there's nothing that's gonna happen. At the best, a resignation, and he still got his golden parachute, no matter what. That's, to me, that seems to be the norm. Just never any real consequences. And typically that's what happens, I think. But yeah, so that's just kind of like what I wanted to say. In terms of this case, these people could care less about black folks. I read a line yesterday about, I call her the fifth wheel, Cori Bush, coming out saying that, I guess whether she was responding to the gun charges being dismissed or however, that, that if that was done, or if there's an acquittal, then that means that, that white supremacists can just shoot us. I mean, these people are so wicked and so evil. I mean, and I think she was brought in. They are using black women, even white people, to bring this country to step up their level of tyranny. I mean, if you want to go biblically, is it not true that is it not true that women have been used to topple things? I'm just saying, is that not what they're doing? It's not about, they could care less about your skin color, but they've got all these other people under the hocus pocus spell. All they think about is race. They would rather lose in the big picture. There are some black people, some African Americans, if they think that they can twist the knife in the back of a white person, they would do anything. They'd rather do that. They'd rather lose their shirt and their pants if they think they can see a white person suffer for 30 seconds. Now, I'm just saying that I'm just putting it out there where the cows can get it. That I'm just saying. Hello, Joseph Francis Burton. Thank you guys for tuning in on this. Marcy T's here. But I'm saying, you've got some people that are really under that. It's thick. The indoctrination is thick. And it's not new. You've got generations of indoctrination. Not only do you want to call them the gatekeepers or the divine nine or whatever, these people, you've got that kind of indoctrination. You don't say that when I'm successful, it's because I'm black, or things went my way that time, that's because I was black. But you use it against me if things go wrong. Okay, yeah, sure, it was an armpit town, but you think I'm gonna liken everything to something that not even you experienced? I'm just saying, I have to use my own discernment, my own experiences. Do I think people are jerks? Do I think people have bias? Yes, they do. But am I going to say that I know the hearts of men? I know men are not perfect. Man is not perfect. We can I think we can all, we can all meet there. And it's a fair place. But am I going to paint a broad brush? No, no, that is not, because that's not real. That is to me a negative a consolation, and it's very conflicting. It's very conflicting to battle. Well, I mean, can you imagine, and I'm just saying this, can you imagine going through life? Okay, oh, well, they say I can do everything. Oh, they say I should have black pride, but oh, I can't do this because I'm black. Oh, I can't do this because this is not, I mean, there are bad things that happen to people of every background. And nobody ever told me that life was fair. No, they didn't. If like I said, I always try to give, I don't say the benefit, I said the bit to fit the doubt. If there's a bit, you and then sometimes you run out of that. It was just a bit. It was just a little bit to fit the doubt. And when that's gone, that's all, then I call it what it is. But I've never been quick to, I've never been quick to jump on that. I've never. I mean, if somebody's directly expressed to me, but I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to deal with that person. I'm not going to paint everybody. I don't respond to every single thing. I don't have an inferiority complex. I don't have that. I don't. This is another thing I've heard people say. I'm already going down a rabbit hole here. But this all started. Let me get back on track here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I want to get back on track here. So is it a nail biter? I think it's just the outcome of this case to me. I think this 2030 agenda, like I said, we're in the halls, we're in the corridors of this agenda right now. And that is a goal. The U.S. is a nation that has the most power right now, the most firepower, for the lack of a better word, on this, okay? So they're going to do everything they can. I think I told you guys the other day that there was a report that I read on this administration having compiled the registries of 2021 to the tune of some odd 54 million Americans with hammer registrations. From now on, I call the 2A, I call that 2A hammer ownership has been compiled. What do you think they're doing that for? We have states that don't have we have states that don't have hammer registries. I mean, we talked about that a little bit. So are they compiling a national one? Oh, for the information they're going to be able to get, I think that's a real possibility. And I think this is what they need. They need something to happen with a hammer in order for them to reach their goal by 2030. And I think this situation, the Rittenhouse is going to be that verdict. There's going to be a couple of outcomes that are going to come out of it. And it might take, do I think it's going to happen this year? Probably not. But I think it's going to be months of, I think, the destruction party, the destruction commie-crats, they'll jump right on and start putting legislation together, depending on how this goes. And it might even be there already. You guys don't remember, who was it they used to call McConnell the Grim Reaper, that they had, Pelosi used to brag about in the previous administration about how many bills and whatnot they had just sitting around. It might already be there. They just want to give it a name. And instead of giving them statues, how about give them a name a bill or an act? An act that's going to infringe even more on 2A. And how about let's throw in some social protections for the victims that were of the pedophilia persuasion? How about that? Because they're softening people's brains up already. They're trying to make that more acceptable anyway. What better way to do it than to say that this guy, to put in social protections where people will suffer more And who knows, this guy might face some charges behind that anyway. If the ACLU, as I suspect, and all these people NGOs come running in, they might come up with some legislation and say, oh, well, we believe it was hate. We believe there was some hatred for this guy. We're going to put in some legislation that's going to protect people that have that background. I'm just saying, let's see who else is here. I appreciate you guys for coming in. And Marcy T says, I know. She says, it's an evil spell. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in this early. I know it's early. But yeah, I just thought I'd come in because I would expect, what do you guys think? Let's do a poll really quickly. Do you guys think that this will happen this morning? Not this morning, rather, but do you think this is something that's going to come out today? Do you think the judgment will come out today? Do you think it'll come out tomorrow? The verdict will be read. Yeah. What do you guys think? But like I said, I just think that we have enough writing on the wall to see that they are dissolving every reaction to one of their destructive actions has led to an L for liberties. And I just don't know. It just seems like we're in a bad place right now. We're in a real, dare I say, we're in a pickle right now, for the lack of a better word. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up. And even on a global scale, I think it's time to go around the world. There's some things that are happening in Poland that I'd like to get into, and we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, I just had to touch on this thing about the Rittenhouse case. I didn't come on to go into deets, and that's deets short for details here. I didn't want to do that. If you watch even just a little bit of it, I think everybody that was pretty much following riots a year and a half ago, we could see this, the consecutive riots, and it just seems like hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is literally 2020. Because everything we're dealing with right now occurred. It happened back then. And, this was their riots were going to be the way that they were going to, to do the down is up and the up is down. And things that I think liberties that made us, that gave us stability in this society and as human beings, we're about to lose those. The Build Back Better to me is just basically, it's a global, it's more of a government. How can the government put its hand on it, get its hands into everything? In fact, I think one in that infrastructure bill, I do believe that there's, dare I say, I need to look at it a little bit closer. There's something in there on the vehicles. There's some vehicles I think that you're probably going to have to take some type of, there'll be before you even start your vehicle up, you will be assessed. So it's, or maybe your car will shut off. It's just like everything is working against us. It's a web. Who would have thought, right? Let me read some comments here. Let's go with Marcy T. Marcy T says, but we are still here fighting these creeps. They must be really angry. We will never comply with, quote, the lie, end quote. Thank you, Marcy T. She says, Obama wrote that on the One World blog after they ripped down the Twin Towers. Yeah, we're definitely running out of liberties, and just even with the kids, it's almost like they are, I guess, what was it? It takes a village. I don't know what village you guys are. I hope that government village, I hope you don't want that. I hope you don't. I hope you're not interested in that kind of a village. That's what's on the way. But yeah, so I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna watch a little bit more of this today. I don't know when the verdict's gonna be read, but I would imagine, however the outcome, it will probably last throughout the weekend. And I think there's even some. I've even seen a couple of tweets that if Rittenhouse walks, people are already making threats. And I don't know. What do you do? What do you do? And I'm just saying, I'm so sick of the fool's gold. I'm so sick of all of that. That's just where, everybody's hands are tied, conveniently tied. I mean, yeah, right? And everything and the destruction people say, always accuse the other person of doing it. And it's just, this is your life. Right. Yeah. And I see that. I can see that. I do think it was self-defense. I do. But they don't want you to have rights to do that. And this is their new public health crisis. They don't want you to have the right to do that. And I think that's what this is about. They could care less. They could care less about what was actually happening. It's about the end game. It's about these politicians and Psaki and Biden getting up making comments about the case. It's just all, what? You're going to blame white people, but also use them they're using people against us. They're using everything against us. That J6 situation. However, whatever you think, whatever your opinions are on that, whether you were taking photos or whatever you were doing, you're not even getting, you're either compliant or not. Let me read some comments. Joseph Francis Burton is here. Thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting us. And thank you, Marcy T, for coming in and supporting us. Thank you, Nick Smith, for coming in. Okay, so Joseph Francis Burton says, it is not 2020. BLM has worn out their welcome. Lockdowns are pretty much over. Defund the police has become politically toxic, and there are about 10 million new registered gun owners in the country. No, it's not. No, it's not 2020. That's for sure. But most people, and I say hindsight is 2020. It is for those of us who were paying attention. For those who are under a spell, they say everybody's not blessed with 2020 vision. Not everybody. Not everybody's blessed with 2020 vision. And Marcy T says, we are waking up the masses. Joseph Francis Burton says, race riots will not be welcome like they were last year. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting point. But see, this is the thing, and somebody else was talking about this, and I've said this before. Even when it comes to education, we as a society, we don't demand the kind of breakdowns that come with, like, say for instance, like sports. In sports, they break down everything. They break it down to the grainiest value. But when it comes to trials, people that don't understand trial law, they don't understand. Just tell us, what's the difference between an opening argument and a closing argument? Give us something. but the American public doesn't demand that. Most people are not paying attention. They're not paying attention. They're not. But we don't demand breakdown of our justice system when we're being presented cases, or we don't demand as much veracity and transparency as possible. We don't. But they teach terms, but they make sure they teach microaggressions and all of their little terminologies. And like I said, I do believe this will be a double-edged whammy. It's going to serve, they're going to use every profile in this to create social protections, and they're going to be coming after, the disarmament. I mean, honestly, if I go back into I did a report on this a while back. There was supposed to be disarmament of this country decades ago, actually. And most people want to hail one administration over another. But actually, in the 60s, there was a united treaty against arms. And I've covered that before. See, this is the thing. I sound like a broken record because I've covered things in depth in the past. And I don't do those things anymore because I was doing those things doing it for my own presentation and for the development of my presentation, or for a big picture. But that type of, for this platform, I don't think for this platform it was, it's I put a lot of time and a lot of work into some of those. And of course, did I anticipate a specific response? No. But I know that based on the Uncle algorithms, my channel didn't get the kind of traction or whatnot. Who knows who got notification about the mobile live? Now, the mobile lives seem to be really suppressed. But yeah, you can go back into the past and see some of these things that I've covered on 2A, and see, I think Kennedy had a meeting back in the 60s on the disarmament. And I think Obama was supposed to finish this thing off, and he did not. He was not able to get it done, but it was a UN arms treaty agreement. And you got a lot of people that praise Kennedy, like, oh, he was the greatest president ever. I'm just thinking, my gosh, people. And when you think about the way some people vote, they voted for him because he was good looking. I'm just thinking, whatever it was supposed to be and what it is, it has nothing to do with what it became. I'm telling you, is it an elite based on their looks, or like, if you can't be a politician, go to Hollywood. If you can't be Hollywood, go to Hollywood. Just get up and say that some congressperson is going to be whatever, booted off of some committee due to something that happened, and saying that the other faction is the party of the chaos and crisis, and amazing, right? Okay, so Mark Steve says, now they are stopping your voice. Geez, we know you Google ABC. We don't like you either. So they're cheaters. And Joseph says he got notified. Well, excellent. Thank you, Joseph Francis Burton. That I'm not even sure if I got notified. Yeah, I'm not sure if I received my own email, own notification. But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see what happens today. And then I will be back. We'll see. I thought I was going to do a stream, like a regular stream. But if I don't do it today, we'll see what happens tomorrow. On my getting my Discord muscles together, and also, but I haven't received any emails on interest on that. But even if you guys don't do it, I'm still going to do some type of segment on that. Even if we just take a portion of it, a portion of a segment, and just do something on preppers potluck, that kind of a bit. And you can bring whatever you want. It doesn't. It's not necessarily. We're not talking about Sunday dinner. We're not talking about green bean casserole and turkeys and victuals. We're talking. Bring whatever you want. First aid. Bring whatever you want. If you know anything on batteries or preserving batteries or how to protect your energy sources, yeah, bring whatever you want to the potluck. Bring it. Bring yourself, and then just let me know, and then you're free to present whatever you want. Just let me know what you're presenting, and of course we'll give you a allotment of time. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I actually think it's fun. It's fun. It'll be informational, and we'll all, you know, it'll be kind of like a community share. You know, we're gonna harvest all of our prepper ideas together and put them and present them. Let's see. All right, so what do I have here? And Joseph Francis Burton says, I found this BSWA channel about the time of the Kenosha riots last year. I was just desperate for any sane conversation. Well, knock on wood, you know, I'm still around, so we'll see. Yeah, but I it's clear we have enough evidence to suggest that, you know, your peaceable assemble is under attack, your 2A is under attack, and every single one of those, you know, they've put the choke on them, you know, to me, in result of any type of, whether it was riot, whether it was peaceable or not. The violence, you know, led to a loss. The peaceable, any part that was peaceful, led to that. And of course, you got the media that is fueling, that substantiates the garbage. And so that's it. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Joseph Francis Burton, Marcy T, Nick Smith, and I think that was about it. So I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing, of course, you guys on the next live stream, in the comment section on the video. And we'll see. If we get the verdict, then I'll try to come back, even if it's a worst case, at another mobile live. Yeah, it might be interesting to just have a reaction to, you know, to hear every, you know, bit on it. But when I say open-ended, but not so open-ended that we go into no man's land. Maybe you'll be limited to one, you know, one extra tangent per person.